the girl was harassed by a group of thugs. During the struggle, she accidentally fell off a cliff, but at the moment when she was on the verge of death, she unexpectedly gained the ability to travel back and forth between another world and reality, and this other world was still at a medieval level of development. They didn't even have something as basic as toilet paper, but their currency was made entirely of gold. Because of that, Mitsuha came up with a bold idea. She planned to take cheap goods from the real world and sell them at high prices in the other world to earn gold coins. Then she would use those gold coins to buy rare items from the other world and sell them back in the real world. If she could pull that off, she could become rich. Mitsuha used to be an outstanding high school student, but just before the college entrance exams, a sudden car accident took the lives of her family. Overwhelmed by grief, she performed poorly during the college entrance exams and failed to get into a university. At the lowest point in her life, Mitsuha went up the mountain to clear her mind, but unexpectedly, she was harassed by several thugs. During the pushing and shoving, Mitsuha accidentally fell off the cliff. When she woke up again, she found herself in the middle of a vast, empty grassland. She recalled the memories from before. Then she looked at the surrounding environment. Very quickly, she realized that she had probably been transported to another world. So Mitsuha decided to first find a town and figure out the situation from there. After walking across the grassland for 2.5 days, Mitsuha finally met a girl named Colette, but because of prolonged hunger and lack of sleep, Mitsuha collapsed and fainted. When she woke up again, she had already been brought to Colette's home. As soon as Colette saw that Mitsuha had woken up, she immediately stepped forward and asked with concern how she was feeling, but the languages of the two worlds were different. Mitsuha couldn't understand a single word she was saying. Fortunately, some words sounded somewhat similar. After struggling through a difficult exchange, Mitsuha still managed to express her gratitude. At that moment, Colette's mother walked in with some food she had prepared. Mitsuha immediately began devouring it hungrily. By the next day, Mitsuha had mostly recovered, so she went out into the village to see what this other world was like, but the surrounding environment left her extremely disappointed. It looked exactly like a rural countryside. At that moment, Colette, who was about to head out, also spotted Mitsuha. She quickly ran over and pushed her, urging her to go back and continue resting, but Mitsuha insisted that she had already fully recovered. Seeing this, Colette finally relaxed, and Mitsuha also noticed the basket on Colette's back. It seemed that she was going out to gather mushrooms, so Mitsuha decided to help her collect mushrooms as well. Suddenly, Mitsuha felt like something behind her was watching. It turned out to be several wolves. She looked around at the surroundings. It seemed that the only place to hide was the tree nearby, so she lifted Colette up onto the tree. After making sure Colette was safely positioned, Mitsuha prepared to lure the wolves away by herself, but she accidentally tripped over a stone. Just as the wolf was about to pounce, Mitsuha suddenly teleported back to her own home. This made her wonder if everything that had just happened was only a dream, until she saw the stone still in her hand. Only then did she become certain that everything that had happened was real, so she quickly started searching her room for weapons. Mitsuha first found a slingshot. She remembered her brother once telling her that with steel balls, this kind of slingshot could have power comparable to a small caliber handgun. Then she found a folding dagger in a drawer. Finally, Mitsuha went to the kitchen. She wrapped up a kitchen knife used for cutting vegetables and put it in her pocket. Immediately after that, she teleported back to the other world again. At that moment, Colette was almost unable to hold on any longer. Mitsuha quickly used the slingshot to take down one wolf first. Then she took out the seasoning she had prepared in advance and threw it out. This instantly caused the wolves to lose their ability to move. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Mitsuha quickly pulled out the kitchen knife and charged forward. Because it was the first time Mitsuha had experienced such an intense battle, her body immediately gave out and she fainted. But when she woke up again, she unexpectedly found herself in an unknown space. There was a creature there that looked like a lucky cat. It claimed that it had evolved from an ancient energy life form. The reason it had found Mitsuha this time was because of the powerful survival instinct she showed when she fell from the cliff. She had taken a portion of its spiritual energy. It was that energy that allowed Mitsuha to gain the ability to teleport. As long as Mitsuha knows the specific name of the destination, she can freely teleport there, and that energy also granted her powerful regenerative abilities. Even if Mitsuha were to lose an arm, it would grow back not long afterward. Then the lucky cat also gave Mitsuha the ability to understand the language of the other world. The lucky cat said that after the Earth has completed tens of thousands of rotations, it would come back to check on the situation. After saying that, It left the place. When Mitsuha woke up again, she had returned to Colette's home. Facing Colette's greeting, she casually replied with a few words. This time, she could finally understand what Colette was saying. Just at that moment, Colette's father handed Mitsuha a small bag. Inside was some money earned from the wolves. Although Mitsuha didn't know how much the money was worth, there were gold coins inside. That immediately gave her a bold idea. She could use her ability to travel between worlds to make money in both the other world and the real world. Mitsuha realized that the other world used gold coins as currency. That meant the civilization level of that world was still very low. If she brought goods from Earth and sold them there, she would definitely be able to make a lot of money. But she couldn't allow herself to be overly optimistic, because she didn't know how long this teleportation ability would last. So she decided that in a short period of time, she needed to earn as much money as possible. After doing some calculations, Mitsuha realized that as long as she could earn about 2 billion yen, which was roughly equivalent to 80,000 gold coins in the other world, she could live comfortably until the age of 100. And just like that, the story of Mitsuha traveling to another world to earn 80,000 gold coins for her retirement began. After returning to the real world, Mitsuha immediately took out all the inheritance left by her parents. She planned to purchase some items from the real world and take them to the other world to sell, but she didn't know what the law and order situation was like in that world, so she decided to get some weapons to protect herself. Mitsuha immediately logged onto the internet. In the end, she chose a private military service company called Wolffang. Although Mitsuha possessed the ability to freely travel anywhere, she needed a clear image of the destination in order to teleport there, so Mitsuha had no choice but to look up satellite images online. After making the necessary preparations, Mitsuha began her first teleportation attempt, but she ended up teleporting straight into a garbage dumpster. After that, she had no choice but to walk to the Wolffang private military service company. Soon, Mitsuha met the person in charge of the company, Kane. After Mitsuha left, Kane assumed she was planning to take down a terrorist organization. After all, she wanted to learn how to use a micro-submachine gun, a revolver, and various types of light weapons. What confused Kane the most was that Mitsuha also asked him to authenticate some mysterious gold coins. The next day, Mitsuha returned to Kane's office again. Kane told Mitsuha that based on the current gold purity, each of those coins was worth around $200. Mitsuha then wanted to propose a new deal to Kane. That was because she expected that in the future she might exchange tens of thousands of gold coins with him. Kane responded very directly that it wouldn't be a problem. However, he would charge a certain commission fee. In the end, the two of them reached an agreement. Right after that, Mitsuha asked him to teach her how to use guns. The two of them went to the shooting range. After Kane taught her some basic knowledge about firearms, he let Mitsuha practice shooting. Once everything was ready, Mitsuha fired several shots in a row, but she didn't hit the target even once. After all, the lucky cat hadn't granted her the ability to shoot. After returning home that night, Mitsuha turned on her computer and began searching for products to sell. If she chose to sell cheap items, she was worried that there would be too many to carry, but if she chose expensive goods, she was afraid they wouldn't sell. For several days like this, during the daytime she would go practice shooting, and at night, she would search online for products. At the same time, she kept thinking about how to survive in the other world. Since the other world was basically set in an ancient era, that meant there would definitely be bandits who preyed on merchants and travelers, which meant she had to seriously consider the issue of combat. So Mitsuha made up her mind. While protecting herself, she would show absolutely no mercy to bad people, and through constant practice like this, her shooting skills gradually became more and more accurate. A few days later, Mitsuha went to a clothing store. She needed to customize a set of clothes suitable for the other world. Soon, everything she needed was ready. Next, it was time to head to the other world and begin her plan to make money. Before long, Mitsuha teleported to the other world. After hearing that this place was the territory of Count Poses, she immediately had the idea of meeting the Count, but she was refused entry by the guards. At that moment, she encountered the Count's two sons inspecting the territory. Mitsuha instantly came up with a plan. She went to the road that led to the Count's mansion. When the carriage passed by, she immediately lit some firecrackers to frighten the horse. Then she pretended to be knocked unconscious by the carriage. The two sons of Count Poses immediately brought Mitsuha back to the Count's mansion. Poses instructed the butler to call a doctor. Mitsuha pretended to regain consciousness and said she had only been frightened. She was very lucky. The Count's family was just as friendly as the rumors had said. That night, When Poses saw Mitsuha dressed in elegant clothes, he guessed that she might be the daughter of a noble family from another country. Poses asked why she was traveling alone. Mitsuha began telling a story that was half true and half fabricated. She claimed that during her journey, she had become separated from her companions. Then she had been attacked by wild beasts. It was the people from Poses' territory who saved her. Because of that, she was extremely grateful to those kind people. She even emphasized that the people in Poses' territory were all very kind. Poses was delighted by what she said, especially since she said those words in front of his 3 children. It made his image appear even more impressive in their eyes. Mitsuha said that she had actually come here before, but she had been stopped by the guards. After hearing that, Poses felt that the guard should be punished. However, Mitsuha praised the guard for simply doing his duty. She said he should be commended instead. Poses was deeply impressed by her. She was young, yet so sensible and reasonable. She was certainly not someone ordinary. Soon after, Mitsuha gave Poses a small gift. It was a multifunctional folding knife. Poses had never seen something so delicate and refined before. He was extremely delighted, and he hoped there was something he could do in return. Mitsuha said she wanted to go to the royal capital, but Poses would not allow her to leave that very day, because traveling at night would be too dangerous. He suggested that she take a carriage the next day instead. Mitsuha immediately said that she had lost her money and could not afford the fare. Poses was a little surprised, but he didn't say much about it. He simply asked her to change into a formal dress and join them for dinner. At the dining table, Poses introduced his family to her: his eldest son, Leon, his second son, Elio, and his daughter, Beatrice. Poses asked about Mitsuha's background. Mitsuha had no choice but to continue making up her story. She said that after both of her parents passed away, the only ones left in the family were her and her kind younger brother. She wanted her younger brother to inherit the family estate, but some relatives in the family wanted her to inherit it instead. Poses immediately understood. Those people wanted Mitsuha to inherit the estate and then marry her off to their sons in order to seize her property. Mitsuha said that was the reason she left her homeland. She had traveled far away carrying the necklace her mother left her. In order to survive here, she planned to sell that necklace. The Countess, Eleonora, said that the value of pearl necklaces could vary greatly, but the one Mitsuha was wearing, both in shape and luster, was flawless. It was the finest kind of pearl necklace. If the king or high nobles were to learn about it, they would surely do whatever it took to obtain it. Mitsuha was stunned. She never expected that the cheapest pearl necklace from the real world would become such a treasure here. Mitsuha immediately said that what she needed now was not the necklace, but money. She was willing to transfer the necklace to Eleonora. Eleonora only needed to pay her enough money for her to open a shop in the royal capital. Mitsuha said that Eleonora resembled her mother in some ways. For a moment, she felt as if she was seeing her mother again. Eleonora was deeply moved by her words. She immediately said that she was willing to buy the necklace, although Mitsuha had deceived the kind count's family. The deal was beneficial for both sides. The second son Elio also wanted something similar to the folding knife. Mitsuha directly took out the dagger strapped to her thigh. When the count's family saw that, they all blushed. Mitsuha realized that she had done something improper. She quickly explained that in her homeland, women all carried protective daggers with them just like she did. Elio liked the dagger very much, and he was willing to buy it for 1 gold coin. Mitsuha was extremely happy, because the purchase price of that dagger was less than 1/100th of the value of that gold coin. Beatrice curiously asked what kind of shop she wanted to open. Mitsuha said she wanted to open a general goods store. It would mainly sell small items for ladies, things like cosmetics and jewelry. Mitsuha also wanted to sell some food, because the food in this world was honestly too unpleasant to eat. Poses reminded her that recently the harvest of wheat and crops had been declining continuously, but no one could find the reason. If she wanted to sell food, the raw materials would be very expensive. Mitsuha guessed that it might be caused by a lack of fertilizer. If the land were to become fertile, fertilizer would be necessary. In the end, she even thought about developing a special fertilizer that only existed in Poses' territory, then turning it into a brand, and even promoting it throughout the entire other world. Although Poses couldn't quite understand what she was talking about, he felt that chatting with her was very interesting. The whole Poses family couldn't help but laugh. This warm and cheerful scene made Mitsuha think back to when her parents were still alive. There had once been a similar moment like this. The sadness in Mitsuha's heart could no longer be held back, and she began to cry. The count's family felt deeply sorry for what she had gone through. They told her that if she wished, she could treat them like her own parents. The next day, Mitsuha said goodbye to everyone. Poses even arranged for some servants to accompany her on the journey, and just like that, Mitsuha set out on her trip to the royal capital.